Hello and welcome back. My name is Misty, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. And we are going to start a brand new series here on the channel. This is the Bridgesimton challenge, and this is the royal family. I am going to put the rules in the description box below so that you can take a look. They are quite extensive, so we are not going to be going through them in this episode here, but we are going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at our families. So we're going to go ahead and jump into Create a Sim, and I'm going to introduce you to our families. This is our queen. And so let's go ahead and jump into Create a Sim and take a look at our families now. I do want to just show you all of the families that we're going to be rotating throughout so that we will be able to get to know them a little bit better. And you'll be able to have a look-see at them and get to know them before we get started playing with them. So if we go and we take a look, this is, like I said, our queen, Queen Charlotte. And let's go ahead and take a look at all of her outfits. I'll show you all of the royal family's outfits because we are going to be playing with them in this first episode here. This is Principe George Harrington, her husband, and all of his outfits. And then they have a son, Nickolas Harrington. He is the crown royal. He will be the heir. And he is going to be trying to get his skills up in this episode, trying to get himself ready to get to the point where he can find himself a bride. Our next family in queue here is going to be the D'Alessandro family. They are the Duke and Duchess. This is Giovanni. And then we have his wife, Contessa. She is expecting a little one, which is super exciting. So their family will be expanding, and we will be playing with them at some point. Then we have the Duke and Duchess Driscoll family, and that's Jameson. This is Bianca, his wife. They have a son named Victor, who is a teenager, and a daughter, his twin sister Lola, who is also a teenager. Then we have the Bridgerton family. This is Viscount Edmund, and I'm sure everyone is familiar with the Bridgerton family, and Viscountess Violet Bridgerton, and she also is currently expecting a little one. You can't really tell it right there, but she is. And then we have the Baron and Baroness. This is Baron Lorenzo Marino and his wife, the Baroness Isabella, and they have a daughter as well. She is also a teenager. Her name is Scarlett, and she is also going to be trying to become a debutante, trying to find herself love for the season. Then we have Lady Catherine Barron, and she is part of the upper class, and her husband, Lord William, well, I guess she's probably upper middle, maybe. I don't really know how that works. I'd have to look back at my notes. But her husband, Lord Baron. Then we have Ulysses Vasari. He is part of our lower class. His wife, Ginevra Vasari, and their daughter, Flora Vasari. And then we have Ludovico Bellini, his wife Agnes Bellini, and they have twins Gavin and Giovanna. So it does look like Prince George does want to be lazy. We'll go ahead and allow it. So we are back in our royal family. We are just going to be continuing on. Basically what we are trying to do here is we are going to be working on Nickolas's journey. We are working to try to build up his skills. For the rules, he does have to meet certain skills in order for him to basically be ready for himself to enter into going into the marriage market and finding himself a bride and putting himself out there. And all of that has to take place prior to the debutante ball, when he is going to be able to enter society and find himself that bride. And so he does need to work on his etiquette, his writing, his logic, some music, charisma, painting. So there are a lot of things that he has to work on, and he has to get certain levels, level 4 and level 5 in certain skills. And all of that is on the rules sheet that I have posted in the description box. And so we are just going to be working on his skills here in the time frame allotted for each rotation. I think the allotted time frame is 7 days, and so we will be with each family for the 7-day period, and we will be trying to get their skills up so that they can hopefully go ahead and meet their goals and get themselves ready for entering the marriage market. And so basically what we're trying to do is get Nickolas here ready for that. And so right now we're just going to let him go on over here. He's going to talk to this young lady. She's actually their gardener currently. She is just playing a little bit of chess instead of tending to the gardens. So he's going to come over and he's just going to have a little bit of a chat with her while he does a little bit of logic. Maybe he's going to play a little bit of a game with her, because he does need to get his logic skill up anyway. So he's thinking, well, why not? And so he'll obviously, spend a little bit of time socializing with her as well. He, even though he is the crown royal, and I guess most crown royals would kind of be a little bit uppity and a little bit maybe snobbish, he's kind of down to earth. He doesn't really care so much that she's the hired hand. He's like, whatever, it is what it is. And so he doesn't mind kind of talking with her a little bit and carrying on. And he doesn't really even care that she's kind of taking away from her duties to play a little bit of game of chess. And he's thinking it'll just give him a little bit of a chance to play against someone and build up his skill, because he knows that his ultimate goal is to find himself a bride, and he really does need the practice anyway. And so he's thinking bonus, right? As we can see, we have George here. He's feeling really, really focused, but he's also kind of feeling a little bit hungry. I'm going to send him downstairs, let him get himself a little bit of something to eat. George is going to, I think, probably need to get himself a little bit of work. Maybe we will get him into the aristocrat career so that he can go out and he can make some money for the family. We are obviously going to be getting Queen Charlotte enrolled in the monarch career. That is with the royalty mod, and it is just part of her duties as the monarch. And so she'll be going and dealing with her monarch duties under that mod and fulfilling that role. Currently right now she is just getting herself a little bit of rest, but once she gets up, I'm just going to have the queen come on down and she's going to grab herself a little bit to eat as well. The butler has gone ahead and made them a meal, which is fantastic, because as we know, them being the royal family, we don't necessarily cook any of our own meals for ourselves. We have people that do those kind of things for us. So the family's just going to come on in here and they're going to grab themselves a bite to eat, and they're going to have themselves a little bit of a conversation. And obviously the queen is going to talk to Nickolas about his studies and his skills, and she's just going to say to him, like, are you progressing in the things that you need to progress in? You realize that, I am planning to have a debutante ball and you do need to have yourself ready. And he's like, I understand, I'm working on it. And she's like, well, I hope that you're, not letting your skills get in the way of your studies, because that is also something that you need to excel in. And he's like, yeah, I'm just feeling a little overwhelmed. There's a lot on my plate. And she's like, I understand that, but you have roles and responsibilities. And as the heir, you know, there is a responsibility here for you to, you know, excel, and I have high expectations for you. So he has a lot on his plate. Like, not only does he have to get all of his skills up so that he can obviously enter into the marriage market and find himself a, you know, good match as far as a bride goes, but he also has to do well in school, and he is the heir, so he will be taking over the throne at some point when Queen Charlotte, you know, finally steps down and or passes away. And then all of this will be his, with his new bride taking over the helm here. And he's just feeling like he's a little bit overwhelmed. And of course he would feel that way, being that he is a teenager. He's just kind of feeling like it's all a little bit much. And, you know, I think maybe if he were a little bit older, he probably wouldn't be taking this responsibility quite so, he wouldn't be looking at it as it being quite so daunting. But because he is young and he is a teenager, he's just thinking like, this is all just so much. So as you can see, we do have the queen here. She's doing a little bit of painting. She absolutely loves to paint. She comes and paints quite frequently. And so we actually are going to have to, as you will find over time, he's going to have to fight her for the easel because he also needs to get his painting skill up to like a level 5, and she's constantly painting things. So we will have to get her to step away from the easel so that we can allow him to paint some. But right now he's just working on his piano skill because we do want him to get his music skill up to a level 5. So he is just currently working on some piano skill. I figure piano would be a good skill for him to have. So he's just learning currently right now how to play the piano, and he's actually doing pretty well at that. And so I think that is going pretty well for him. I am going to just let her go ahead and go to the washroom here, and then we will probably go ahead and let everyone kind of turn in for the night. I don't know, the more I kind of get to thinking about it, I'm kind of thinking like maybe I should even possibly cheat their needs as far as like energy and things like that goes, because trying to get all of their skills up to level 5, especially Nickolas, right? Like Nickolas really needs to focus on his skills, and if he's taking time away to sleep and things like that, it's really going to take time away. Doing that in 7 days I think is going to be really difficult. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to be able to meet all of those skills within a 7-day rotation. So if that is the case, there's a good possibility that we may end up having to go on more than one rotation before we can actually do the marriage market and have that marriage market take place where we can find ourselves brides and grooms. So I don't know how that's gonna go, and we'll see how this first portion of the rotation here goes. If 7 days is actually too long, I may end up shortening it down for the next group and just do 3 days. I haven't really decided yet. We'll see how it kind of goes. For the royal family, I am going to go ahead and play the 7 days and see kind of how it goes, and then I'll kind of play it by ear. And if I find that it's kind of too long for one episode to do 7 days per rotation, I may shorten it down to 3 days. That way the episodes aren't extremely long, and then we may just have to do a longer sets of rotations or multiple rotations of the family before we're actually able to get to the marriage market. Or I may have to build some of their skills off camera and do it that way. I haven't really decided how that's going to go, but currently right now he is working on his writing, and he is trying to build up his writing skill so that he can get that to a level 5. He does have to work on writing and calligraphy. His calligraphy works on building his etiquette skill, and building his etiquette skill obviously is going to be really beneficial for this time, because as we know, his etiquette skill is going to make him really proper, and that would be really important, especially in this time of the royalty mod, and that works really well for this Regency stuff. So once again, she's found herself another easel. She already has a painting downstairs on the easel downstairs that she hasn't sold, and then she's come upstairs and she's working on the easel upstairs. So she is commandeering all of the easels and just taking them all over. And that's kind of what I mean when I say, like, we have to basically keep her away from painting so that he can take over and do a little bit of painting himself so that he can get that skill under his belt, because she absolutely loves to paint. So I am going to get her to come on down. She's going to just talk to Nickolas and see how things are going. She wants to check in on him. It is currently in game a weekend. It is Saturday, so he does not currently have school. We will, though, be getting him scheduled for school. I don't think currently right now he is set up to go to school, but we will be setting him up to go to high school because he does have to have an education, especially considering he is of the royal family. For each different level in the rules, they are allowed certain types of education. But based on him being part of the royal family, he does have to have an education. And I do even believe he has to have some secondary school, so or like university. So we will be getting him some education post-secondary, and we will have to make sure that he gets quite an extensive education going on there so that he is, well educated and he can obviously run the land as a royal, and so that he can lead his people. I am currently just taking a look here. I want to get some things for them to do some skill building. I'm actually going to get them a stereo so that they can learn how to dance, because they do have to learn how to dance as one of the skills. So I'm just going to go ahead and purchase them a little music box, and I'm going to put it here in the living room so that they can dance. And then I am going to have them practice dancing. So they'll listen to a little bit of music and they'll do a little bit of dancing. I normally don't purchase the radios because when they play the music and they dance all the time, it's really quite annoying for me. But based on the fact that they do have to have dancing skill for this challenge, we'll just deal with that. So the king and queen, I say the king, he's not really, he's the husband of the queen. He doesn't actually have the title as king in the game, but for purposes of me just telling the story, I'll just say the king and queen are having a little bit of a conversation, and he's just checking up on her and seeing how she's doing. We are going to go ahead and we are going to be rolling our dice. We have a scenario that we need to roll for. So we are going to go ahead and roll a 4, and we're going to see what that means. We're going to go over to the rules now and see what a 4 means for that. We have random scenarios that have to pop up for our families that we need to go by for our challenge rules. And our family has rolled a 4, and basically what that means is that we are going to be rolling for a disaster. And for this disaster, we have to roll now between a 1 and a 10 to find out what disaster we are rolling for. So let's go ahead now and roll again and find out what disaster we are rolling for. So if we roll a d10, we'll find out what disaster we're rolling for. We're rolling for a number 9. And it says we have to lose all of our, basically all of our fame points. And we have to roll for the person in our family to find out who's rolling losing our fame points. And we rolled a 4, but we don't have 4 people in our family. So I've rolled until we rolled the number of that person in our family. We rolled a 2. The second person in our family is Prince George. So Prince George has to actually lose all of his fame points, and lose his celebrity status. So we're just going to look and see what his status is currently, and we will take away his fame points and his reputation points. He doesn't currently actually have any fame points. He is not famous at all. He has nothing to lose. So that is basically null and void. We'll just continue on. And once again, Charlotte is up here just painting her little heart away. We absolutely love that. She's making a significant amount of money with these paintings, which we absolutely love, but she's also getting quite a bit of skill up for that. And so we love that she's enjoying herself with this. I just need to make sure that I remember to go ahead and get her enrolled in that job at some point. So as you can see, the gardener is once again in here playing chess. I'm thinking that it's because we don't actually have a garden for her to tend. So I'm going to actually go ahead and dismiss her so that she doesn't have to stay working here. I'm going to let her go ahead and go on home, and she's no longer going to need to fulfill her duties as our servant. So thank you for coming, and have a good day. So he's dismissed her, and we'll let her go on back to her house, and we will not have a gardener here at the residence. We do have a butler. We also have a cook. That being said, the cook is the Baroness, I believe, or maybe even the Duchess. I don't really know. The Duchess, I think, showed up to be our cook. So I may actually dismiss her and let her go on home as well. We don't necessarily need her hanging around the house either. So I probably will send her home. Yeah, it is the Duchess. Duchess de Alessandro is here, and she is just kind of hanging out. As you know, she is with child, and she's just literally hanging out upstairs, kind of looking around. She's not even downstairs cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and send her on home as well. We will let her go tend to her business at her residence, and she can be dismissed. We do have our butler, so if we do need the butler to cook or anything like that, the butler can always cook. And if later down the road we need to assign ourselves a new cook, we will definitely assign ourselves a new cook. That won't be a problem. There are plenty of people in the world that we can assign as a cook. I don't necessarily think that the Duchess needs to be our cook. I think that is a little much. So as you can see, these two are just playing chess together, and she has decided to go ahead and release Contessa there and just let her go on home. And now she's going to go on downstairs and grab herself a plate of food. She's, worked herself up a little bit of an appetite while she was painting, and she's like, I could literally eat my own arm off. I really wish she wouldn't, but she's quite famished. All right, let's dismiss Contessa here. Contessa's like, thank goodness, because she's like massive. All right, so the butler's helping herself to a little bit of a meal with the queen here. We love that. All right, so we have gone ahead and gotten rid of the cook, so we don't have any existing cooks now, which is fantastic. So again, if we decide we want to go ahead and get us another cook in the future, then we will just go ahead and we'll get us a new one. And we can totally do that at some later date, and that won't be an issue. And everybody's needs seem to be in pretty decent shape. Everyone seems to be, carrying on pretty good. These two are just, sitting here having a nice conversation. She's like, that meal was fantastic. And he's like, I'm really glad that you liked it. And she's like, it was really, really good. She's like, how has your day been? And he's like, it's been really good. I was helping Nickolas get some, logic under his belt, and she's like, well, you would definitely be the one to do it. And he's like, oh, honey, that's really sweet of you to say. And she's like, well, you are really, really good at that kind of stuff. And he's like, yeah, I work hard at it. And she's like, I know you do. So Prince George is actually really good at logic and things of that nature. He is a bit of a genius, I think, when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so he loves helping Nickolas when it comes to chess and those types of things. And so he kind of gets on about that. Look at them practicing singing. They've just decided to just bust out in song like it's a bloody musical. And Nickolas is like, why are we singing at the dinner table? He's like, I don't understand you guys at all. And they're like, our life is so perfect. Our life is so grand. And he's like, I'm just tired. Like, I have been playing the piano, I have been writing, I've been practicing calligraphy, I've been playing chess, I've been working on all of these things all day long, and I am just so tired. And I mean, he's really not that tired, but he's like mentally exhausted, and they're just over there like busting out in song, and he's thinking to himself, these guys have lost their mind. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna send him off and let him get a little bit of rest, I think. because, you know, he's just like, look at him, look at them, like, really? Why don't you go ahead, actually, instead of getting some rest, because you don't actually seem like you're very tired, why don't you go ahead and practice a little bit more writing and get that skill up a little bit more? I think that would be good. You can even maybe write some letters. We can send some letters out to people that will help with you practicing some writing. I do love the fact that with this mod you can write letters to people and send them off, and that is really a really cute touch, I think. And so he's going to just write some letters out and send them out to some of his acquaintances, and he's going to try to maybe build on some of those relationships that he has made, which is going to be fantastic. And I did go ahead and put the year into the calendar of when each year is supposed to be taking place. Supposedly every 4 days is the start of a new year in this challenge. That being said, with each rotation, I'm supposed to pause time. So I don't really know how that's going to play out. Because time's technically going to be paused, but I guess the year's going to be continuing on. I don't really know how that whole thing works. We'll just have to see how it goes, because they're not actually going to be aging up, because time is going to be paused during the rotations. So let me know how you guys feel about that. Like, do you think I should actually, like, we're on a long lifespan, so do you actually think I should be pausing time during the rotations, or do you think I should still allow time to continue on? I think the idea is that you pause the rotation, the gameplay during the rotations, because you're playing each family for the rotation time, and you don't want them aging up, because obviously you want them to be like all teens during the marriage market. I think that's the idea. So if that is the idea, then yes, we would definitely want to keep it paused, because we want Nickolas, for instance, to have teens to be able to marry. We don't want them aging up while they're trying to get all of their skills, because then by the time I get to the last family, the first family will have aged up, and then they're no longer going to be eligible for him to marry. So I guess in that theory, it makes sense that we would pause the time frame, and then when it's time for us to get back to him again, since he's family number 1, we would unpause the time, and then we would continue on, and time would start again. So I guess that makes sense. So yeah, that's what we'll do. So we are once again seeing Mom in here doing a little bit of painting, selling a little bit of painting. She is just, as you can see, really working on her skills. Her son is really working on his skills. Prince George kind of just wanders around. He doesn't really do a whole lot. I'm kind of making him work on some music. He's working on some violin stuff currently, but other than that, he doesn't really do a whole lot, if we're being honest, which is why I said we're definitely going to get him a job. These two are having a little bit of a chat. She's asking him how his skills are coming along and how he's liking the piano, and he's like, I'm really liking it. And she's like, that is fantastic news. She is being a little bit nosy with him. She is giving him some advice, advice he didn't really ask for, but advice nonetheless. And he's, gonna take it with kind of a grain of salt. He does adore his mother. He knows that she means well and that her intentions are good. He just kind of feels sometimes like maybe she comes on a little strong, but they, as you see, have gained a little bit of a sentiment here. And I think that, she loves him and she wants the best for him. They just sometimes, he feels like maybe even though her intentions are good, she comes on just a little bit too strong, and sometimes he feels a little bit overwhelmed. And so, as you can see, she has just told him, like, you're going to be the heir, and I expect so much from you, and I need you to really focus. And he's like, I don't know how much more I can focus. I don't know how much more you want from me. Like, I'm busting my ass over here. And she's like, I understand that, but like, time is of the essence. Chop chop, basically, is kind of what she's telling him. And he's like, I'm really doing my best. And she's like, very good. So she's going to come back over. We're going to get her painting some more. I'm going to go ahead and get her hopefully set up in a job here. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the careers and see if we can get her set up in a job. And as you can see, they are closer from Happy Memories, so that is the sentiment that they got together, which is fantastic. I love that they are close, even though sometimes she can kind of infuriate him a little bit. They definitely do have a close relationship. And so let's go ahead and get her set up in that monarch role here so that she can sometimes leave the house and at the very least, go do her monarch duties. So we're going to give her monarch of the land as her role of job, because that's exactly what she is. She is the monarch, and her job would be to do the monarch of the land work. So she will be doing that. I think it's from like 10 to 3 p.m. 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. she'll be leaving the house and going and doing monarch duties. And so we absolutely love that for her. We'll get Prince George, I'm sorry. He's already run off to work, which is fantastic. So he's out doing his job. And Nickolas's job is obviously to be a student and to get all of his skills up. So we love that. He's currently working on his writing. It looks like he's just reading, but he's actually working on his writing. And so we are just having him work on that. And then we are probably going to just continue working on that. I haven't worked on any of his charisma yet. He is definitely going to need to start working on a little bit of charisma because he hasn't worked on that yet. And I just realized that that's one of the skills that he needs to work on, which makes sense that he would need to be charismatic a little bit, especially being that he's going to be the future heir. He's going to be able to need to, be able to talk to people. And so she wants to be a maker. Okay, you can be a maker. I guess painting like this makes you want to be a maker. I don't really know. But she is just getting all of these paintings in, and we can't make her stop. Like, I literally can't make her stop. But I am gonna get a photo of her painting here because, like, she is just in her element. Look how happy she is while she paints. I think she is so beautiful. I actually got her off of the gallery. I did not create her myself. I did do a little bit of tweaking on her, but other than that, like, I did grab her off of the gallery. But I think she is stunning. And I just love her to death. So I can't wait to see how things are going to go. Obviously, she is young enough that they could go ahead and have more children. But we are going to obviously go ahead and just wait and see if some of the random roles roll up that, like, we need to have a baby. Because that is on our random roll scenarios. So we'll find out if they need to roll for any children on that. I don't think that we actually rolled that they need to have any children on, like when I did the rolls for babies in the beginning of this for the challenge rules. But if they have any random scenarios come up that they need to roll for children, then we will find out about that. But that being said, I think I am going to go ahead and leave this episode here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when new episodes go live on the channel. And I will see you guys in episodes 2 of the Bridgesimton challenge, where we are going to be with our next family. And I am so excited to continue on with this challenge with you guys. And I can't wait to see what family is next and what we are going to do in this challenge and who Nickolas is going to end up with for his journey. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out. We'll be meeting all of the different families and seeing how that goes and seeing who is the most eligible bachelorette for him and vice versa, the best, bachelors for the bachelorettes, and seeing how the marriage market goes. So it's going to be all really, really exciting, and you guys will have to let me know which families you like best and what you think of everyone as time goes on. But until next time, I'm going to go ahead and fly for now. Bye, Ravens.